These rookies are guys that you should be holding or stashing on your fantasy teams because we predict that later in the season, they're going to have a very big impact for your fantasy team. So we're going to be buying them or stashing them before it is too late. Rashee Rice is going to be first. Rashee Rice. Round of applause for Rashee Rice. He continues to get looks in the Kansas City offense. Okay?
In the red zone.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at his targets over the first 5 games. 5 targets, 5 targets, 7 targets, 2 targets, 5 targets. I mean, if you're a wide receiver averaging 5 targets a game in that offense with Travis Kelce, with a quarterback that could throw to a banana and the banana would have 40 yards and a touchdown. That's impressive. That's so what we're seeing from Rashee Rice this year. He appeared to be the primary read on his touchdown catch this week. Mahomes seems to be trusting him more and more. I mean, do keep in mind, again, and you know this because the video said rookies, but this is a rookie. This is a guy who played in the first 5 games of his career and is producing and is gaining the trust of a quarterback that, number one, has not really truly trusted a wide receiver since Tyreek Hill. But number 2, can spread the ball out to whoever he wants. The Chiefs' next 5 games are going to be against teams who are bottom 12. Next 5 games, all of those teams are bottom 12 in giving up points to wide receivers. So what does this mean? It means that the main wide receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs is going to feast. We are saying, we said this before the season, we drafted accordingly, and now we are going to analyze this data and say that Rashee Rice is going to be the main wide receiver target in Kansas City. He's going to continue to produce. We even think this could be somewhat of a breakout period for him.
Absolutely.
And that would be huge for Dynasty especially, but for Fantasy, we're really, really in on stashing him right now. Yeah. As you already know, because there were 10 videos last week that had Rashee Rice on the cover that said stash, so you know that one.
Right. A guy who's already been producing, who's already shown out, and who honestly I think is going to do nothing but produce at a higher level than he already has is Josh Downs.
My fave,
Joshua
baby.
Downs
Love
on
it.
our Indianapolis Colts. Are we homers with this pick?
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah, sure.
But no.
But not really. His targets against the Tennessee Titans, 6 targets, 6 receptions for 97 yards. 3 targets, 2 receptions against the Rams. 12 targets for 8 receptions against the Baltimore Ravens. And then 5 and 7 in his first 2 games. He started with 7 targets in his first game as a rookie wide receiver, guys. I mean, just a little side note. I know this is a rabbit trail here, but I think looking in future years in fantasy football, the little rookie discount, the rookie discount may not be there anymore when you have drafts to start the season.
You've seen in a couple of years straight now that rookies have just come in and produced, especially at the wide receiver position.
Right away.
Josh Downs is no exception to that.
No, not at all. And there's room in the Colts offense for a second wide receiver behind Pittman.
It's Downs.
Again, we said this all offseason that there was going to be room for Josh Downs to be able to produce. He looks way more ready for that than Alec Pierce does, which we also predicted. Minshew was the quarterback for the 12-target game for Downs and also most of his best game last Sunday. So
Prediction.
I
think Gardner Minshew is the starting quarterback for the Colts for at least the next 10 games.
10 games?
Yes.
You think 10?
Yes. I mean, he has a grade 3 AC shoulder. Like that is.
I know.
That is.
Well, they're considering putting him on IR. Honestly, I mean,
I don't know if they play him again.
As a homer, because I'm not expecting much from the Colts.
The Twitter doctors are saying that could end his year, like because it's that bad. You literally don't throw the same for months.
He's supposed to be our franchise quarterback, so I hope they sit him for as long.
So
as
what
possible.
does this mean for Josh Downs and Michael Pittman? Money sign on 3. It means it's money right now.
Yes.
It's a great buy. He's a great stash. And again, we think Anthony Richardson will probably be out. Gardner Minshew's good for him.
Minshew helps him.
Minshew does help him. Roschon Johnson's going to be next, and we've had Roschon Johnson on multiple videos. We've had him on our playbook, and then again on our waivers, and then again on our buys, and now we're going to put him on our stash. So what does this tell you about what we think about Roschon Johnson? It should tell you, that means we like him. And you are hopefully, you've been watching our videos, you've already been stashing Roschon Johnson, because with the Khalil Herbert injury, it becomes even more important. Khalil Herbert to miss multiple weeks with an ankle injury. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. It doesn't mean that it's totally wheels up for Roschon yet, especially given that he is in the concussion protocol. So that's the first thing. He left the game, had a concussion. I think there are going to be people that will be like, yeah, it might not be. It might be Deonta Foreman. It might be, who did they sign? They signed somebody. They activated somebody.
Yeah, some rando.
Regardless, he's a great stash right now. He's always been a great stash. And while Deonta Foreman has been a healthy scratch, we would expect that Deonta Foreman is going to come back and play some as well. So that is going to short-term hurt Roschon. Roschon is definitely, by far, their most complete back. And in case he does come back, get more looks, get more volume, which we are going to predict again that he will be doing that, we are going to be stashing him on our rosters for a potential late season breakout from Roschon Johnson. Again, we do think he's better than Khalil Herbert. We think even if Herbert comes back, Roschon could take over this backfield and not give it back.
Yeah, another guy that we think could show out as the season progresses is Zach Charbonnet. The first three were players who could get a big role right now. Charbonnet and the two names we are about to talk about after him are not quite that. But they are players you should have at least one of your bench spots open for, because if the player in front of them goes down, they have massive upside. Obviously, we're talking about Kenneth Walker here. Kenneth Walker is not exempt from injury. Are we predicting injury for Kenneth Walker? No. No, we are not. What we are predicting is that Zach Charbonnet will continue to capitalize on the opportunity he's already been given and will continue to be given, which will likely be more volume. When you're looking at his first 4 games in the NFL, remember, this is a rookie running back we're talking about who's playing behind Kenneth Walker. 3 carries for 11 yards, 3.7 yards per carry. Not a great first show. Then he has 4 carries for 16 yards, 4 yards per carry.
Better.
Then 9 carries for 46 yards, 5.1 yards per carry.
Better.
And then 5 carries for 31 yards at 6.2 yards per carry.
Better.
I understand that this is less volume, which means he has a better chance to have better looking efficiency, obviously, with those averages.
But look at the targets as well.
But look at the targets. 3 targets, 2 targets, 2 targets. That's going to go up as well. Charbonnet is a better receiving back than Kenneth Walker is. If Walker, who has had some injuries in his young career, were to go down, Charbonnet has the skills to be a 3-down back. He does. That's why Seattle drafted him in the second round. They didn't draft him in the second round to be a Jahmyr Gibbs for the Lions who gets 0 opportunity. But I guess they drafted him in the first round too. We're going to fall for the same, you could say, fallacy here, because I don't think it's a fallacy. I think they intentionally want to use Zach Charbonnet as the season progresses, as they're making that push for the playoffs. The Seahawks are a dark horse for the Super Bowl, guys. They are, if all things go well. And Zach Charbonnet will be a lot of the reason for why that's the case.
And if you watch the show, I'm a huge Zach Charbonnet fan.
Yeah.
If you've watched the Seahawks, now you know why. Because in the last couple weeks, he has been freaking awesome. I mean, the vision, the shiftiness, and then he just trucks people every time he touches the ball.
Like a sleeping monster, dude.
Any other team, dude. Why? Pete Carroll, I will never forgive him for that. Yeah. And I'll also never really forgive him for drafting JSN either. Because it's a good situation for JSN, but he's the wide receiver 3 there. I mean, I remember the day after the draft. I mean, I was like, I hate the Seahawks right now. Jason has been stuck essentially catching dump-offs right now. He has 5.4 yards per catch, and you're looking at his targets over the first 4 games of the season. He had 5 targets, 6 targets, 3 targets, and 6 targets. So, again, we predicted that JSN was going to come in and be the lead wide receiver there. I said weed. That's funny.
That's hilarious.
The lead wide receiver there, he hasn't been. All reports out of Seattle, though, suggest that they highly value him. And they think he's special. And I think you know that based on where they drafted him. But you even saw the video of Geno Smith. I mean, here.
No, I'm
you're going to wear it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm supporting the Seahawks so they can start our favorite players.
Okay.
Yep.
Again, you saw the video of Geno Smith encouraging JSN on the sideline. He's a guy that they definitely believe in. It doesn't mean that JSN can't produce this season, okay? Unlike Rice and Downs, JSN has to get through 2 very established receivers in Metcalf and Lockett. We totally understand that. We're totally fine with acknowledging that. But this is an if, but this is something when you're stashing players that you have to think about. Because all of a sudden, JSN, who's being rostered less and less and less, will be the number 1, by far, waiver wire pickup if one of those guys even says the word injury. If one of them does go down, expect JSN to have a huge spike in value.
Huge.
He is absolutely worth a stash on benches. If you have the roster spot, you should definitely be keeping him. I personally am going to be keeping him in all of my redraft leagues where I have him.
Yes. Completely agree there. Another guy that's already increasing in value is going to be Tyjae Spears, who is already splitting snaps and opportunities and carries with Derrick Henry. When you're looking at his opportunities over the first 5 weeks of the season, he's had 3 carries, 8 carries, 4, 5, and 7. This last week against the Colts run defense, which is very respectable, he had 34 yards at 4.9 yards per carry and a touchdown and 4 receptions on 5 targets. That receiving usage is so encouraging. something that we're going to want to keep an eye on for the rest of the season. If you are struggling at running back, if you have a lot of injuries, if you're one of the unfortunate owners of Nick Chubb and you're just trying to get by with the rest of the guys you have, Tyjae Spears may be worth a waiver ad right now before he, honestly, I think inevitably increases in value and starts to become harder to get. He's not getting quite enough work to be consistently fantasy relevant at the moment, and he won't without an injury to Henry because keep in mind, remember, Derrick Henry, as the season goes on, Derrick Henry gets better as a runner. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's unreal.
It is.
But if that happens, and with what the Titans want to do, the upside is massive for Spears because Ryan Tannehill can't really throw the ball unless he's playing the Colts. You got to stash him before that happens.
I'm not going to lie. You
What?
look ridiculous. It is so funny. I almost started laughing multiple times.
Hey, this is Zach Charbonnet and JSN are going to both show out this week now because of this.
I hope you never wear one of those hats, seriously. All right, make sure you drop a like on the video and make sure you're subscribed for that. I mean, this is funny,
Yes.
is it not? Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We also have decent fantasy football opinions, so
It's a decent
well,
hat.
I
It's
mean,
not
the
bad.
opinions are decent. The content, we try to make it good. So make sure you subscribe. Flockfantasy.com/domain for a team review if you select the Mother Flocker tier. You want your team graded? Want a team podcast, team live review? Flockfantasy.com/domain. Use code domain. Mother Flocker tier.
Domain.
Peace out, guys.